This item has been requisitioned to Council in order to afford clarity to the decision-making process. We noticed this very large expenditure of funds was due to be allowed as a delegated decision. Surely, such amounts should be agreed by members, especially when it is the same members who will be taking budget decisions of both growth and cuts across this Council's remit. The Executive report states that the Executive feels that Sutton is not getting the recognition it feels that it deserves. So, given that, it is now a political decision. So there's no hiding behind the officers. That's why we're here in public. If you feel, and this goes to all members, you've got to really listen up, this is the important bit. If you feel a doubling of the comms budget is acceptable, then fine, you have the majority.
I'm aware, I appreciate the desire to keep this debate short, but quite frankly I'm puzzled why this has actually come to the Council at all. We had a debate on communications last Council meeting, and here we have the opposition unable to actually think of anything more positive to raise. In the past, Mr Mayor, this borough has suffered to some extent because we've been failing to communicate our message effectively. That's been one of the criticisms levelled at us by our residents. Maury polls, for example, have shown that residents have not felt properly informed about council services and facilities. So we've taken the opportunity to improve that. Because doing so would mean a change in established personnel, it was important to act quickly, which we have done. Previous arrangements were not fit for purpose, and I think that's been conceded. So we needed to implement substantial changes. It would not have been effective to do so while the former arrangements were in place. To go down the route of tendering would have been totally impracticable. We would have been left in a state of limbo for an extended period, and as we were going through the process. You can't have an important element of the Council's activities not functioning for several months. The decision was therefore taken by the Executive to enter a shared arrangement with Westminster City Council. This is not an arm's length procurement arrangement, but a delegated service arrangement between local authorities, and that's quite clearly covered by Section 101 of the Local Government Act of 1971.
The Conservatives say it's due to lack of consultation. Is it though? I suggest it's much more to do with their envy. They are envious that the Lib Dems have policies first of all, when they don't. The Conservatives were using spin before New Labour ever heard of. Saatchi and Saatchi, the influence on Margaret Thatcher. Do you remember it? They produced posters and slogans of a highly political nature for the Tory election campaigns. David Cameron spends the whole time trying to spin himself into government.
I started sniffing around on this one late 2007 when we discovered that Westminster Comms team had been instructed to do a review on our own in-house communications team, which they wrote, and interestingly enough, they then got the job. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it just is a bit interesting. Which Westminster Comms team undertook in the autumn of 2007, that it was stated that it was difficult to ascertain what the true cost of both internal and external comms were within LBS. It could have been 150 grand, it could have been 450,000. Interesting, we as a council erred on the high side and have since worked up from that high side. Why didn't we start at the lower figure? Councillor Brett Young stood in this chamber not more than 2 years ago and gave a figure in the high 300,000, said it wouldn't go any higher than that per annum. Yes, you did, Councillor Brett Young, we'll look at that, and said it wouldn't go any higher. Well, it has, it's gone a lot higher, and we are trying to make ourselves as a council accountable to our taxpayers. They're the ones who pay the council tax to you. You're trying to get your message out. Well, get your message out and do it for 7p, not for 14p a person. You can do it because you've done it before, so why not do it again?
Mr Mayor, all of this has been achieved for an amount well below the Outer London average. Now, hold on. The Outer London average, the Taxpayers Alliance, your friends have actually quoted the figures that are shown in annual reports, and they show us to be well below the average for Outer London authorities. And
Councillor Brett Young had once again trotted out the mantra that we are spending less than other Outer London boroughs. How does he know this? as in this email that I have here from the Executive Head of Policy and Comms, to which he was copied in on, it is stated, direct comparisons with other service providers are not straightforward because, as far as we are aware, there are no other comparable local government communications providers of such a delegated service. So which one is it?
With regard to the communications, however, at no point have we ever said that it's not good to have effective council communications. Indeed, we believe it's absolutely crucial, hence the motion for our last council meeting. And I won't go through it all now, you can listen to it on the tape. But it is good to talk. Obviously, with the two facets of our communications department, looking at external communications, where it has gone so wrong in the past, and internal communications, obviously for the productivity and the morale and the duty of care that we have to our staff, keeping them informed is absolutely essential. So we welcome that, and we welcome sensible and prudent spending on communications. But as Councillor Shields opened, I'm afraid you've actually been giving the wrong speeches to the wrong debate. This has never been about Westminster communications. It's never been about the art of communication, whether we should be doing it, how much we should be doing it. It's the fact that you are trying to pass a very large contract through a de-delegated notice, which is hardly transparent, it's hardly open, and quite frankly, that was it. There was never a need for prolonged debate. It was just, you should make that decision in the open so that the public know exactly where you stand.